I sold my house for her. I gave up my pension, my friends, even my dog. And when I landed in Phuket, she was waiting with that smile. I thought I had a partner for life. But 2 years later, she was gone. So was every penny I had left. And I'm still trying to figure out if any of it was ever real. The plane touched down at midnight. I remember because the heat hit me the second I stepped off that aircraft, like opening an oven door. Humid, thick, smelling of jet fuel and something sweet I couldn't name. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from excitement. From the kind of nervous energy you get when you're about to change everything. I'd sold everything. A few days ago, I opened an email from a longtime viewer of this channel, a man who's been quietly following for years. He wrote, "I've watched every one of your stories, mate, and I think it's time I tell you mine." It's strange, the moment I read that line, I felt this heaviness in my chest. Not dread exactly, more like recognition. I knew before I even opened the message that his story was going to hurt, and I was right. As I read through his words, I could almost feel his exhaustion. The way he described packing up his life, chasing something he thought was love, and realizing too late it was all built on a lie it hit too close to home. I found myself stopping mid-sentence, just staring at the screen, trying to steady my breathing. It was like looking at a reflection of my own mistakes, only written by another man's trembling hands. And that's what makes these stories so real. They remind us how universal heartbreak can be. Different names, different towns, same wounds. To everyone who's been here from the start, who listens, comments, shares, or quietly watches from halfway around the world, thank you. You've turned this channel into something that feels less like storytelling and more like a place where broken people come to heal. So, wherever you're watching from, Phuket, London, Melbourne, or Manila, drop a comment below. Tell me where you are. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this story, it shook me. Let me take you back to where it all started. My semi-detached in Liverpool. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a garden I'd spent 15 years getting just right. My tools from 40 years in construction. My car, a Ford Focus with only 30,000 miles on it. Even gave away Barney, my old terrier, to my neighbor's son because I couldn't take him with me and couldn't bear to put him in quarantine for months. 63 years old and starting over with 2 suitcases and about 80,000 pounds in the bank. Everything I had left after the solicitors and estate agents took their cut. After my debts were settled. After I paid what I owed to the world. I wasn't running from something. I was running toward her. Toward Luksami. Toward a life I thought I deserved after 2 failed marriages and 40 years laying bricks in the rain. She was standing at arrivals holding a sign with my name on it. Rodney. Written in pink marker with a little heart next to it. She looked better than the video calls. Smaller maybe, more delicate. Long black hair down to her waist, white sundress that showed off her tan shoulders, sandals with little flowers on them. 35 years old, but her skin looked like porcelain. When she saw me, she smiled, and I swear to God my chest tightened. Not from my blood pressure, from something else. Something I hadn't felt in decades. She walked up and took both my hands in hers. Her fingers were cool despite the heat. "You came," she said. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper, like she was sharing a secret. "I was so worried you wouldn't come." I laughed, tried to play it cool even though I was sweating through my shirt. "Of course I came. I sold my bloody house for you." She kissed my cheek, smelled like coconut and jasmine. "You're home now, Rodney. You're finally home." We took a taxi to a small apartment she'd rented near Patong Beach. The driver didn't speak English and she chatted with him in Thai the whole way. I watched her profile in the passing street lights. The curve of her nose. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she laughed. She'd paid the deposit herself, she told me. Didn't want me to worry about anything the first week. Just wanted me to rest, to settle in, to feel safe. The flat was on the 3rd floor of a building that had seen better days. Cracked paint, a lobby that smelled like cooking oil and incense. But when she opened the door to our place, it was clean. Modest. 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen with a 2-burner stove, a balcony overlooking a side street full of motorbikes and laundry lines. The furniture was mismatched but comfortable. She'd put flowers on the table, orchids in a blue vase. "You like it?" she asked, watching my face carefully. I dropped my bags and pulled her close. She fit perfectly against my chest. "I love it. I love you." She laughed and pushed me gently toward the bedroom. Go shower. You smell like airplane. I'll make food. You must be starving. That first night we stayed up talking until 3 in the morning. She made me pad thai with shrimp, and we ate on the balcony watching the street below. A karaoke bar across the way was still going strong. Someone murdering a Thai pop song. She told me about her childhood in a village near Chiang Mai, how her father died when she was 12 from liver cancer, how she had to quit school to help her mother sell fruit at the market, mangoes, papayas, dragon fruit, standing in the heat for 12 hours a day. How she moved to Phuket 8 years ago to work in a hotel but quit because the manager kept trying to get her alone in the stockroom, kept touching her when no one was looking. She cried when she said that. Real tears that she wiped away quickly like she was embarrassed. I held her hand across the table. Her fingers were so small in mine. No one will ever hurt you again, I said. Not while I'm here. She looked at me with those enormous brown eyes. You're different, Rodney. You see me. Not just my body. Not just what I can give you. You see me. I believed her. God help me, I believed every single word. The next morning she woke me with coffee and mango sticky rice on a tray. I could hear the street vendors outside, the buzz of scooters, someone shouting in Thai about something. She sat on the edge of the bed watching me eat, just watching with this little smile on her face. What? I asked, feeling self-conscious. She shrugged. I'm just happy. I didn't think I could feel this way again. I set the plate down and pulled her into my lap. She was so light, like holding a bird. You deserve to be happy, I said. We both do. That's why I'm here. That's why I left everything behind. She kissed my forehead. Then let's make each other happy. Every day. No lies, no games, just us. I nodded against her hair. Just us. The first month was perfect. Too perfect, maybe. I should have known. She took me everywhere. Night markets where we ate grilled squid and drank Leo beer from plastic cups. Buddhist temples where she taught me how to weigh properly, hands pressed together, head bowed. Secret beaches where locals went instead of tourists, where the sand was white and the water was so clear you could see fish swimming around your feet. She introduced me to her friends, 2 other Thai women who worked at a spa near the beach. They giggled when they met me, said something in Thai I didn't understand. Looks at me blushed. They say I'm lucky, she translated. They say you look like a movie star. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my drink. Which one? Danny DeVito? She slapped my arm playfully. No. Like that man. The one from the old cowboy films. What's his name? With the blue eyes? I didn't care what his name was. I just cared that she thought I looked like someone worth loving. We got into a routine quickly. I'd wake early and walk down to the beach, watch the sun come up over the Andaman Sea, watch the Thai ladies doing yoga on the sand, watch the fishing boats coming back with their catch. She'd sleep in, then make breakfast while I showered. Afternoons we'd ride her little motorbike up into the hills, stop at roadside restaurants where no one spoke English and the food cost 20 baht. Papaya salad so spicy my eyes watered. Tom yum soup with prawns bigger than my fist. She'd laugh at me struggling with chopsticks, show me how to hold them properly. Evenings we'd sit on the balcony with cheap whiskey from 7-Eleven and watch the sun set. She'd rest her head on my shoulder. I'd kiss her hair. What did you do all those years without me? She asked one night. The sky was orange and purple, the heat finally breaking. I thought about it. My first wife, who left me for a plumber, just packed her bags one day while I was at work and moved in with him. My second wife, who drank herself into rehab twice before I finally left. The empty house after that. The lonely dinners in front of the telly. The weekends with nothing to do but maintain a garden no one saw. I waited. I said, I just didn't know I was waiting for you. 3 months in, she started talking about the future. We were lying in bed after making love. The fan was spinning overhead. The room smelled like sweat and her perfume. Rodney, she said quietly. I was almost asleep. Can I ask you something? I turned to face her. Her eyes were serious. Anything. She hesitated, bit her lip the way she did when she was nervous. Do you think you'll ever go back to England? The question caught me off guard. Why would I? Everything I want is here. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I just worry that you'll get bored, that I won't be enough, that you'll miss your old life. I sat up. Luxemi, listen to me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm done with England. Done with the cold and the rain and the people who look right through you on the street. Done with being alone. You're not just enough. You're everything. She started crying. Not sad crying, happy crying, the kind that makes your whole face scrunch up. She threw her arms around my neck. I love you so much. I didn't know I could love someone this much. I was so scared before I met you. So scared I'd be alone forever. It was around that time she started mentioning her family. Casually at first. Her mother needed medicine for her diabetes. Her sister's husband lost his job at a construction site. Her niece needed school fees for the next term. Nothing outrageous. A few thousand baht here and there. Maybe 200 pounds total over a month. I gave it without question. What's money compared to love? What's a few hundred quid when someone's family is suffering? She always thanked me with tears in her eyes. Real gratitude. You're so kind, Rodney. Most men wouldn't do this. Most men only think about themselves. I'd shrug it off. Most men are selfish bastards. I'm not like them. She'd laugh and kiss me. No, you're my angel, you're my miracle. One evening she brought up the business idea. We were eating pad thai at a street stall near the beach. The kind of place with plastic stools and fluorescent lights, and the best food you've ever tasted. She'd been quieter than usual all day, distracted. What's wrong? I asked. She stirred her noodles. I've been thinking. About us. About the future. About what happens when you run out of money. That surprised me. She never talked about money. Never asked how much I had. I'll be fine, I said. I've got my pension starting next year. We'll manage. She looked up at me. I want to build something. Something we can be proud of. Something that's ours. I reached for her hand. What kind of something? She leaned forward, eyes bright now. Excited. A business. Import-export. Thai handicrafts, textiles, ceramics, home goods. Ship them to Europe, to England, Germany, France. You know the market there. You know what people like. I know the suppliers here, the artisans in the villages. We could do it together. My heart swelled. She was thinking about us as a team, as partners, as people building a future. That sounds brilliant, really brilliant. How much would we need to start? She hesitated, looked down. Maybe 40,000 pounds. To register the company, rent a small warehouse, pay the suppliers up front for the first shipment. But Rodney, I don't want you to feel pressured. It's just an idea. Just something I was thinking about. I squeezed her hand. Let's do it. Let's build something together. Something real. The next week I transferred 40,000 pounds into a Thai bank account she set up. She explained everything very carefully. Foreigners can't own businesses here, not fully. It had to be in her name. 51% Thai ownership, that's the law. But we'd be partners. 50-50 in everything that mattered. She showed me the company registration papers. Luxemi Imports Co. Limited. Her signature at the bottom in neat handwriting. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. We're going to be successful. I promise you. I'll work so hard. I won't let you down. I'll make you proud. I kissed the top of her head. I know you won't. I trust you completely. She started working longer hours. Meetings with suppliers in Phuket town, calls with artisans in Chiang Mai, phone calls late at night when she thought I was asleep. She'd sit on the balcony with her laptop, speaking rapid Thai, writing things down in a notebook I was never allowed to see. Business secrets? She'd say with a wink when I asked. You'll see when we make our first million. I didn't mind. I loved watching her become so focused, so driven. This was the woman I'd invested in. Not just financially, emotionally. This was the woman who was going to make something of herself, of us. But small things started to shift. Little things I noticed but didn't want to acknowledge. Cash would go missing from the drawer where I kept spending money. Just a few hundred baht at first. I'd put 5,000 in there and a few days later there'd be 4,000. Then 3,000. I thought maybe I was spending more than I realized. Losing track. But it kept happening. When I finally mentioned it, she looked hurt, actually wounded. Are you saying I stole from you? Her voice trembled. After everything? After I'm working day and night to build this business for us? I backpedaled fast. No, of course not. I just thought maybe you borrowed some and forgot to tell me, that's all. She crossed her arms, turned away from me. I would never take anything without asking. That's not who I am. Maybe you spent it and forgot. You're getting older, Rodney. Maybe your memory isn't what it was. That stung. But I nodded, apologized. Told myself I was being paranoid. Told myself I was turning into a suspicious old man. Then there was the gold ring, a simple band my mother gave me before she died. Told me to give it to someone I loved. I hadn't given it to either of my ex-wives. I kept it on the bedside table in a small wooden box. One morning it was gone. I tore the flat apart looking for it. Under the bed, in the closet, through every drawer. Luxemi, have you seen my mum's ring? She looked up from her phone, barely interested. The gold one? I nodded, trying to keep my voice calm. She frowned. I moved it. I was cleaning last week. It's in the drawer under the sink, the bathroom one. I put all your things there so they wouldn't get lost. I found it exactly where she said. Relief washed over me, but also a strange unease. Why would a ring end up in the bathroom drawer? Why wouldn't she tell me she moved it? I didn't ask. Didn't want to start a fight, didn't want to seem like I was accusing her of something. Her phone became a constant presence. Always in her hand, always buzzing. She'd be texting during dinner, during the movies we watched on her laptop, even during conversations when I was trying to tell her something. When I glanced over, she'd tilt the screen away. Not obviously, just enough that I couldn't see. Who are you talking to? I asked one night, trying to sound casual. We were eating som tam and grilled chicken. My cousin, Ploy, she's sick, really sick. I'm trying to help her find a good doctor in Bangkok. I nodded. Do you need money for that? I can help. She smiled. Touched my cheek. No, baby. You've already done so much. You've given us everything. I can handle this. But 2 weeks later, I found a bank transfer receipt on the counter. She'd left it next to her coffee cup. 5,000 baht sent to someone named Ploy. I recognized the name. That was the cousin, the sick one. I'd sent money for her hospital bills a month ago. 4,000 baht. Why was Luxemi sending more? Was she worse? I didn't confront her. I told myself there must be an explanation. Medical bills are expensive. Maybe she needed more tests. Told myself I was being controlling. Told myself love means trust. Told myself I needed to stop checking up on her. Then she disappeared. It was a Thursday. She said she had to go to Bangkok for 3 days to meet suppliers, finalize some shipments. Look at warehouse space. I'll call you every night, she promised. She was packing her small suitcase on the bed. Black clothes, her laptop, makeup bag. She kissed me at the door. Long and slow. I love you. I'll miss you. But this is for us. For our future. I believed her. Watched her climb into a taxi. Waved until it turned the corner and disappeared into traffic. That was the last normal moment we had. The first night she didn't call. I texted around 10. Just checking in. Hope the meetings went well. Love you. No response. I told myself she was busy. Meetings running late. Dinner with suppliers. Bad signal in the hotel. The second day I tried calling in the morning. Straight to voicemail. I texted again. And again. Baby, are you okay? I'm getting worried. Please just let me know you're safe. Nothing. By evening I was pacing the flat. Couldn't eat. Couldn't focus on anything. I called her friend from the spa, the one who giggled when she met me. I haven't seen her, the woman said carefully. Like she was choosing her words. Maybe she's with family. I hung up feeling sick. The third night I was frantic. I couldn't sleep. Kept checking my phone every 5 minutes. Imagining terrible things. Car accidents. Kidnapping. Worse. I called everyone I could think of. Her other friend. The landlord. The taxi driver we use sometimes. No one knew anything. She came back on the 4th day. I heard the key in the lock around noon and nearly collapsed with relief. She walked in looking exhausted, hair messy, makeup smudged. clothes wrinkled like she'd slept in them. "Where the hell were you?" I shouted. Couldn't help it. 3 days of terror came out in one burst. She flinched, dropped her bag, took a step back like I might hit her. "My phone was stolen," she said quietly. "At the hotel, someone broke into my room, took everything. My phone, my iPad, my money." I stared at her. "Why didn't you call from the hotel phone? Or borrow someone's phone?" She started crying, big, heaving sobs. "I tried to call from a friend's phone, but I didn't have your number memorized. It's always in my phone. I don't remember numbers anymore. I'm so sorry, Rodney. I know you were worried. I know I should have found a way." I pulled her close, even though every instinct told me something was wrong. "It's okay. You're safe. That's all that matters." "Did you file a police report?" She nodded against my chest. "Yes, but they said they can't do anything. This happens all the time in Bangkok." I held her tighter. "We'll get you a new phone tomorrow. It's okay. I was just scared." She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. "I almost didn't come back. I thought you'd be so angry you wouldn't want me anymore." I kissed her forehead. "Don't say that. I love you. I was just scared something happened to you." But things were different after that. She was distant, distracted, wouldn't look me in the eye for more than a second. We stopped having sex. She'd turn away from me in bed, say she was tired, say the business was stressing her out. When I tried to touch her, she'd stiffen, make an excuse, need to shower, need to check email, need to call someone about the shipment. I tried to be understanding, supportive. "Maybe you should take a break," I suggested one evening. We were eating dinner in silence. "Maybe the business is too much right now. We can slow down." She snapped at me, actually raised her voice. "A break? We've already invested everything, Rodney, 40,000 pounds. We can't just stop now. That would be throwing it all away." I backed off, tried to give her space, but I felt it. The shift, the coldness creeping in where warmth used to be, like ice forming on a window. She started going out more, meeting friends, business dinners, networking events. She'd come home late smelling like cigarette smoke and alcohol. I'd ask how it went, and she'd shrug. "Fine, just business." One night she didn't come home until 3 a.m. I was awake in bed, heart pounding. She stumbled in, kicked off her heels, went straight to the bathroom. I heard her throwing up. When she came out, I was sitting on the edge of the bed. "Where were you?" I asked quietly. She looked at me like I was a stranger. "Out. I told you. Business dinner." Her words were slurred. "You're drunk." She laughed. Cold. "So what? I'm an adult. I can have a few drinks." I felt something crack inside me. I was worried. "You could have texted." She waved her hand dismissively. "My phone died." "Stop being so controlling." She climbed into bed with her clothes still on and passed out. I sat there in the dark until dawn, trying to figure out what was happening to us. One morning I woke up and she wasn't beside me. Nothing unusual about that. She'd been sleeping on the couch sometimes, said the bedroom was too hot. I got up, made coffee, called her name. No answer. I checked the living room. Empty. The bathroom. Empty. That's when I noticed her closet door hanging open. I walked over and looked inside. All her clothes were gone. Every dress, every shirt, every pair of shoes. The shelf where she kept her perfumes and makeup. Empty. The panic hit me like a fist to the chest. I couldn't breathe. I ran to the drawer where we kept the business papers. Empty. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and opened our banking app. The joint account we'd set up for the business. Balance. 0. I felt like I was going to vomit. I called her mobile. "The number you have dialed is not in service." I called again. Same message. I tried her friend from the spa. "I don't know where she is," the woman said quietly. Wouldn't meet my eyes even over the phone. I could hear it in her voice. "I'm sorry." I sat on the floor of our flat and couldn't breathe. Everything was gone. Not just the money. Her. The life we were building. The future I'd believed in. The reason I'd sold everything and moved 8,000 miles. I went to the police station that afternoon. Had to take a taxi because I couldn't think straight enough to walk. The officer at the desk barely looked up when I explained what happened. This happens all the time, he said in broken English, bored. Like he'd heard this story 100 times. Farang give money to Thai girlfriend disappear, we cannot help. I begged him. Actually begged. But we have a business. There are papers, registration documents. It's fraud, it's theft. He shrugged. All in her name, yes? I nodded. Then no crime. You give her gift. She can do what she wants with gift. This is not police matter. I wanted to scream. Wanted to flip his desk over. Wanted to grab him by his uniform and make him understand that this wasn't just money. This was my life. Instead, I stumbled out onto the street feeling like my insides had been scooped out with a rusty spoon. I tried everything over the next 2 weeks. Called her mother. The number was disconnected. Went to the address she'd given me for her sister in Phuket town. It was a massage parlor. No one there had heard of anyone named Luxami. Contacted the suppliers she'd mentioned. The ceramic factory in Lampang. The textile workshop in Chiang Mai. No one had heard of Luxami imports. No orders. No contact. No business relationship. I spent days, then weeks, piecing together a picture I didn't want to see. She'd lied about everything. Her family, her business connections, the suppliers, probably even her name. Everything that came out of her mouth was carefully constructed fiction, and I'd believed every single word. Then I heard the rumor. I was sitting in a bar near the beach one night, drowning my sorrows in cheap whiskey. The kind that burns going down and makes you forget for a few hours. An older Australian guy sat down next to me, white hair, leathery skin, probably mid-70s. He ordered a beer and we sat in silence for a while. I must have been muttering to myself because he turned to me. Talking about a woman? He asked. I looked at him. How'd you guess? He smiled sadly. Because I'm sitting in a bar alone at 9 on a Tuesday. Same as you. And there's only 2 reasons men like us do that. Dead wife or bad girlfriend. I almost laughed. Bad girlfriend, he nodded. Thai? I nodded. You said Luxami? I turned to him. Yeah. You know her? He took a long drink of his beer. Mate, I hate to tell you this. But yeah. I knew her. She did this to a German bloke 2 years ago. Different name then. Called herself Knock. Same face, same story. She's got a system. Meets foreign guys online. Usually older, usually divorced. Plays the long game. Months of video calls, messages, love letters. Gets them to come here. Gets them to invest in fake businesses. Then disappears. I felt numb. Where is she now? He shrugged. Last I heard she was in Pattaya. Different hair color, different name. On to the next one. There's a whole network of women who do this. They share tips, strategies, even marks. You're not the first, mate. Won't be the last. He clapped my shoulder. Sorry. I know it doesn't help. But you needed to know you're not crazy. You didn't imagine red flags that weren't there. She's a professional. I went back to the flat that night and just sat in the dark. Didn't turn on the lights. Didn't eat. Just sat there trying to process what that meant. Everything I'd built my life around was a lie. Every kiss. Every promise. Every moment. I thought we were building something real. She'd been acting the whole time. Following a script. Saying exactly what I needed to hear. She probably had a checklist. Lonely older man. Recently divorced. Sold his house. Isolated from family. Perfect mark. I wasn't special. I wasn't different. I wasn't her miracle. I was just easy. An old, lonely fool with money in the bank and hope in his heart. The worst part? I couldn't even hate her properly. Because part of me, some pathetic broken part, still loved the woman I thought she was. Still missed her. Still hoped she'd walk through the door and say it was all a misunderstanding. That she still loved me. That we could fix this. The landlord knocked on my door a week later. Mr. Sumchai. Nice enough guy. Spoke decent English. Mr. Rodney, we need to talk. I let him in. He looked uncomfortable. Kept glancing at the door like he wanted to leave. I'm sorry to tell you this, but the rent hasn't been paid in 2 months. I need you to pay or move out by end of week. I stared at him. Felt like I was underwater. What? Luxami paid the rent. She told me she paid it. He shook his head. She paid first 2 months. August and September. Nothing since. I've been trying to call her, but her number doesn't work. I felt numb. How much do I owe? He told me. 40,000 baht. About £1,000. It was money I didn't have. Money that was supposed to be invested in a business that never existed. I need a few days, I said. He nodded sympathetically. 1 week. Then I have to rent to someone else. I'm sorry. I packed my bags that night, 2 suitcases. Same ones I'd arrived with a year and a half ago. Had nowhere to go but couldn't stay there. Too many ghosts. Too many memories of a woman who never existed. I ended up in a guest house near the bus station. The kind of place where you pay by the night because that's all you can afford. 200 baht. Shared bathroom down the hall. Thin walls where you could hear everything. I lay on the narrow bed staring at the ceiling fan and took inventory. I had about £3,000 left in my account. My pension wouldn't start for another 8 months. I had no job, no friends here except drinking buddies who disappeared when they realized I had no money. No family back home who'd take me in. My brother had told me I was an idiot for coming here. Said he'd never speak to me again if I went through with it. Looks like he was right. I started looking for work, teaching English at language schools. They wanted certification I didn't have. Bartending at tourist places. They wanted young people who could work 12-hour shifts. I tried odd jobs, painting, basic repairs, anything to survive. My savings were gone. My pride was gone. But I was still breathing. Still alive. I didn't know if that was a blessing or a curse. One afternoon, about 3 weeks after she left, I was sitting in a cafe trying to make a single coffee last 3 hours. I'd bought the cheapest thing on the menu and was staring at it, trying to figure out my next move. An older man walked in. British accent when he ordered. Gray beard, worn clothes, looked to be in his 70s. He looked around the cafe, spotted me, and walked over. Sat down across from me without asking. "You look like shit, mate," he said. I almost laughed. First time I'd felt like laughing in weeks. "Thanks." He leaned back in his chair. "Let me guess. Thai girlfriend. Took your money. Broke your heart. Now you're sitting here trying to figure out if life's worth living." I met his eyes. "How'd you know?" He smiled sadly. "Because I'm looking at myself 10 years ago. Same story. Different name. Different city. But same story. I lost everything too." We sat in silence for a moment. Just 2 old fools who'd believed in fairy tales. "What did you do?" I asked. He shrugged. "I had to choose. Go home with my tail between my legs. Face everyone who told me I was an idiot. Or stay and rebuild." I stayed. Moved up north. Chiang Rai. Cheaper than Phuket. Quieter. Less tourists. Less memories. Started teaching English at a private school. Met some good people. Learned to forgive myself. He stood up. "You'll survive this, mate, but you've got to let go of the anger. It'll eat you alive if you don't. And you've got to stop blaming yourself. These women are professionals. They've perfected this over years. You never stood a chance." I took his advice. A week later, I bought a one-way bus ticket to Chiang Rai. Cost me 800 baht. Left Phuket behind. Left the ocean. Left the life I thought I'd have. Left the ghosts. The bus ride took 14 hours. No air conditioning. Stops in every small town. But I didn't care. I stared out the window watching Thailand slide past. Rice fields stretching to the horizon. Mountains covered in jungle. Small villages where life moved slower, where people still smiled at strangers. By the time we arrived, I felt lighter, not healed, not fixed, but lighter, like I'd left some of the weight behind. I found a small room above a noodle shop in the old part of town. £70 a month including electricity. It was tiny, just big enough for a bed and a desk. Shared bathroom down the hall. But it was mine. I started teaching English at a language school 3 days a week. £20 a day. Wasn't much, but it was enough to eat, to pay rent, to survive. I met other expats. Other men who'd been burned. We didn't talk about it much. Didn't need to. We understood each other without words. The British guy who lost his house to a woman in Isan. The American whose fiancée disappeared after he paid for her mother's fake surgery. The Australian who found out his Thai wife had 3 other foreign husbands sending her money. We'd meet at a local bar on Friday nights. drink cheap beer, watch football, never judge each other. One of them, a Scottish guy named Gordon, took me under his wing. He'd been in Chiang Rai for 15 years, married to a good Thai woman now. Really married, not scammed. He could tell the difference. The first year's the hardest, he told me one night. We were sitting by the river watching the sun set. You'll wake up angry. You'll dream about her. You'll check her Facebook even though you know it'll hurt. You'll see couples and want to throw up. But one day you'll wake up and realize you didn't think about her at all the day before. And that's when you know you're healing. I asked him how long it took. He thought about it. For me, 2 years. Everyone's different. But you'll get there. He was right. Slowly, painfully, I started to rebuild. Not the life I wanted, but a life I could live with. I made friends. Real friends who didn't care about my money because I didn't have any. I learned Thai properly, started having actual conversations with my students, with the woman who sold me fruit, with my neighbors. I took up painting, bought cheap supplies from a market and just started putting colors on canvas. Wasn't any good, but it didn't matter. It was something to do with my hands. Something to focus on besides the pain. I started running in the mornings. Just 1 kilometer at first, then 2, then 5. My body hurt, but my mind was quiet when I ran. That was worth something. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't destroyed either. I existed somewhere in between, in that gray space where you're not okay but you're not falling apart, where you can function but you don't feel joy, where you go through the motions and sometimes, just sometimes, you forget to be sad for a few hours. I started writing this story about a year after I left Phuket, sitting in my tiny room with a notebook and a pen. Not for revenge, not to trash her name, but to get it out, to warn someone else. Some other lonely man sitting in England or America or Australia thinking he's found something real online, thinking he's special, thinking this time will be different. Because here's what I learned, what I wish someone had told me before I sold my house and got on that plane. These scams work because they prey on something real, loneliness, the desperate human need to be loved, to matter to someone. After 2 divorces and decades of being invisible, when a beautiful woman tells you you're special, you want to believe it so badly you'll ignore every warning sign. You'll make excuses for things that don't add up. You'll rationalize behavior that should send you running, because the alternative is going back to being alone. And that's scarier than losing money. I still think about her, more than I'd like to admit. Sometimes I see a woman with long black hair and my heart jumps before I remember it's not her, can't be her. She's probably in Pattaya or Bangkok or maybe Manila by now. Different name, different story, same script. Sometimes I smell coconut and jasmine and I'm back in that tiny apartment believing every word she said, believing we were building something real. Sometimes I dream we're on the balcony watching the sunset and she's resting her head on my shoulder, and when I wake up the grief is so heavy I can barely move. But those moments come less often now. The space between them grows longer. I'm learning to live in that space, to fill it with things that matter, books, conversations with real friends, sunrises over the mountains, small kindnesses from strangers who expect nothing in return. The dreams are the worst part. I'll be back in that first week. She's meeting me at the airport again with that sign, that smile. And in the dream I know what's going to happen, but I can't stop it. I watch myself fall in love again. Watch myself hand over the money. Watch her disappear. I wake up sweating, heart pounding, reaching for someone who was never really there. Gordon told me the dreams would stop eventually. It's been 2 years. They haven't stopped. They've just changed. Now sometimes in the dream I see it coming. I see her for what she is. I walk away. Those dreams are worse somehow, because they remind me I could have saved myself. If I'd been smarter, braver, less desperate. I tried to find her once. About 6 months after I moved to Chiang Rai, I was drunk, sitting in an internet cafe at midnight. I created a fake Facebook profile, started searching, found 3 profiles that might have been her. Different names, different photos, but something about the eyes, the smile. I sent friend requests to all of them. None accepted. I spent hours going through their photos, their posts, trying to find proof it was her, trying to find the woman who destroyed my life. Gordon found me there at 3 in the morning, pulled me out. took me to a coffee shop and made me drink water until I sobered up. "What are you doing, mate?" he asked. I couldn't answer. Didn't know. "You think finding her will make you feel better? It won't. You think confronting her will give you closure? It won't. She doesn't care. She never cared. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can move on." He was right. I deleted the fake profile. Stopped searching. But the urge comes back sometimes. Usually when I'm feeling low, when the loneliness gets too heavy. I want to know if she ever thinks about me. If she feels any guilt at all. If I was just another mark, or if some small part of what we had was real. The worst moment came about 8 months after she left. I was teaching a class, basic English for teenagers. Good kids, respectful. One of them asked me why I moved to Thailand. It was a fair question. I'd taught them about my country, about Liverpool, about British culture, but I'd never explained why I left. I opened my mouth to give them the sanitized version. Wanted a change, loved the weather, wanted an adventure. But what came out was the truth. I fell in love with someone I met online. I sold everything I owned to be with her. She took all my money and disappeared. The classroom went silent. The students stared at me. Their teacher, this old British man who was supposed to have his life together. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall and cried for the first time since it happened. Really cried. Not the quiet tears I'd shed alone in my room, but the kind of crying that comes from your gut, that makes your whole body shake. When I finally came out, the school director was waiting. "Are you okay, Rodney?" she asked. I nodded, lied, said I was fine. She didn't believe me, but she didn't push. "Take the rest of the day off. Go home. Rest." I walked back to my room and slept for 14 hours. After that, I started being more honest. With myself, with others. When expats asked my story, I told them the truth. No shame, no sugarcoating. And the thing is, almost everyone had a similar story. Maybe not as extreme. Maybe they only lost a few thousand instead of everything. But the pattern was the same. Met someone online, fell in love, got scammed. There's a whole community of us here in northern Thailand. Men who came for love and stayed because they had nowhere else to go. We look out for each other. Warn each other when we see someone making the same mistakes we made. There's a new guy at the bar sometimes. Young, maybe 45. Dating a woman he met on ThaiCupid. She's already asked him to help pay for her daughter's education. We can all see where this is going. Gordon tried to warn him. "Mate, just be careful. Don't give her money until you really know her. Don't commit to anything too fast." The guy got defensive. "She's not like that. She's different. You don't know her like I do." We've all said those exact words. We just nod and change the subject. He'll learn. They always do. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. I managed to piece together more of Luxami's story over time. Through conversations. Through other expats who'd heard things. Apparently her real name was something else. Maybe porn. Maybe Nong. Depends who you ask. She worked with 2 other women. A network. They'd scout for marks online. Middle-aged Western men on dating sites. Divorced. Lonely. Posting pictures of themselves in front of nice houses or nice cars. Once they found a target, they'd build a profile specifically designed to appeal to him. If he liked fitness, suddenly she was into yoga. If he liked cooking, she loved to cook. They'd study his Facebook, his Instagram, learn everything about him. Then they'd start the slow seduction, months of messages, video calls where they looked perfect, building trust, building love, building the fantasy. When the man finally came to Thailand, she'd be everything he wanted. Sweet, loving, grateful. She'd introduce him to friends who were part of the network, who'd confirm her story, say what good person she was, how lucky he was. Then came the ask, always for a business. Always legitimate sounding, import-export, restaurant, guest house, something that required a big investment. The man would hand over the money. She'd work the relationship for a few more months, then disappear. Usually she'd stage some kind of crisis, stolen phone, family emergency, something that explained why she couldn't be reached. By the time the man figured it out, she'd be gone. New city, new name, new mark. Knowing all this didn't make me feel better. If anything, it made it worse. Because it meant I never had a chance. She was playing a part from day one. Every kiss was calculated. Every tear was fake. Every moment of intimacy was just her doing her job. I wasn't special. I wasn't even unlucky. I was just the next name on a list. And when she got what she wanted, she moved on without a second thought. I wondered sometimes if she ever felt anything. If in those quiet moments she ever thought about the men she destroyed. If she could even sleep at night. Or if she'd done it so many times that we'd all blurred together. Faceless wallets with emotions she'd learned to manipulate. My pension finally started about 18 months after I arrived in Thailand. £800 a month. Not much by British standards, but enough to live on here. I could finally stop worrying about money every single day. Could eat something besides rice and vegetables. Could buy new clothes when my old ones wore out. Could save a little each month in case of emergency. That financial security changed something in me. I'd been living in survival mode for so long that having a regular income felt like winning the lottery. I moved to a better room. Still small, but with my own bathroom. Air conditioning. A view of the mountains. Small luxuries that felt enormous. I started traveling around northern Thailand, taking weekend trips on buses that cost £3, visiting temples in Lampang, hiking in Doi Inthanon, exploring night markets in Chiang Mai. I'd take my camera, the cheap one I bought for 2,000 baht, and photograph everything. Mountains, markets, monks, old women selling fruit, kids playing football in dusty streets. I wasn't a good photographer, but I didn't care. It gave me something to focus on. Something to look forward to. Somewhere to put the energy I'd been using to hate myself. I met a woman. Not romantic. Nothing like that. I wasn't ready and honestly didn't know if I'd ever be ready again. But I met her at a cafe where I went to mark papers. Her name was Sarah, Australian. Mid-50s. She'd lived in Thailand for 20 years. Married to a Thai man who owned a small farm outside the city. We started talking one afternoon and ended up having coffee for 3 hours. She knew my story without me telling her. "You've got that look," she said. "Like someone who's been through the ringer and came out the other side." I asked her what she meant. She shrugged. "Most expats here are running from something or towards something. You can tell which by looking at their eyes. You're not running anymore. You're just here." That's good. We became friends. Real friends. She invited me to her farm sometimes. I'd help her husband with repairs. He didn't speak much English, but we'd work side by side in comfortable silence. She'd make lunch. We'd eat under a tree. Simple, peaceful. No expectations, no hidden agendas. Just human connection without the weight of romance. Through Sarah, I met other expats who weren't broken. Who'd come to Thailand for normal reasons. Teaching jobs, retirement, adventure. Who'd built real lives here with real relationships. It helped to see that not everyone's story ended badly. That some people found what they were looking for. That Thailand wasn't the problem. My choices were the problem. My desperation was the problem. My willingness to ignore reality because reality was too painful was the problem. I started doing volunteer work, teaching English at a school in a village outside Chiang Rai. No pay. Just showing up twice a week to help kids who'd never leave their village but wanted to learn. They were so eager, so grateful. They'd practice English words for hours, write them in careful handwriting, bring me drawings they'd made. One kid, a boy about 12 named Somchai, told me I was his favorite teacher. It was such a small thing, but it cracked something open in me. I mattered to someone, not because of my money, not because of what I could give them, but because I showed up. Because I cared, because I was trying to help. That feeling, that mattering, started to fill the hole Luxemi had left. I don't hate her anymore. That's the strangest part. I don't love her either. She's become a lesson. An expensive, painful lesson in who I am and what I need to learn about myself. I was so desperate to be loved that I ignored every red flag, every inconsistency, every gut feeling that something was wrong. I chose hope over reality because reality was too lonely to bear. And I paid for that choice with everything I had. But I'm still here, still standing, still finding reasons to get up every morning even when I don't want to. That has to count for something. If you're reading this and you see yourself in my story, please listen. I'm not telling you to give up on love. I'm not saying all Thai women are scammers or that foreign relationships can't work. Sarah's been happily married for 20 years. Gordon's got a good marriage. It happens. But be smart, be careful, protect yourself. Don't sell everything you own for someone you've never met in person. Don't hand over your life savings to a business you can't verify. Don't ignore the warning signs because you're afraid of being alone. Loneliness is painful. I know. I've lived it. But losing everything to someone who never loved you is worse. Trust me, I know. Here's what I wish someone had told me. Take your time. Visit first before you commit. Don't send money for emergencies you can't verify. If she's rushing you to make decisions, ask why. If her stories don't add up, don't make excuses for her. If she's asking for money early, walk away. Real love doesn't need to be bought. Real love doesn't operate on a timeline. Real love doesn't make you feel anxious and uncertain all the time. Real love builds slowly, naturally, without pressure. And if you can't tell the difference between real love and manipulation, don't risk your future on it. Wait. Be patient. Protect yourself. The other thing I learned is that you can't fill a void with another person. I was so lonely after my second divorce. So empty. I thought finding someone would fix that, would make me whole. But Luxemi didn't fill the void. She exploited it, used it against me. The void was my responsibility to fill, my work to do. I had to learn to be okay alone before I could be okay with someone. I had to build a life that felt meaningful without romance, without validation from a partner. That's what I've been doing in Chiang Rai, building a life that's mine. That doesn't require anyone else to make it worthwhile. Teaching, traveling, painting, volunteering, making friends. It's not the life I planned, but it's a life I can live with. And some days, on the good days, it's a life I'm proud of. I'm 65 now. 2 years older than when I landed in Phuket with 2 suitcases and a heart full of dreams. I have almost nothing to show for those years except this story and a small room in Chiang Rai. Some people would call that failure. Maybe it is. But I'm alive. I'm sober. I'm learning to forgive myself for being human, for wanting connection so badly I was willing to overlook reality. That's not weakness. It's just what we do when we're hurting. We reach for anything that looks like love, even when it's not. I don't know what happens next. Maybe I'll meet someone real, someone who sees me as more than a wallet, someone who wants to build something genuine. Maybe I'll spend the rest of my life alone. Either way, I'll be okay. Because I've learned something valuable in all this pain. I've learned that I can survive, that I'm stronger than I thought. That love isn't something you buy with money or sacrifice or desperation. It's something you build with trust and honesty and time. And if I never find that, at least I know what it looks like now. At least I won't make the same mistake twice. Luxemi is out there somewhere. Maybe with another lonely man who believes her lies. Maybe she's moved on to a different scam entirely. I don't care anymore. She's not my problem. She's not my pain. She's just a memory, a ghost. A cautionary tale I tell myself when I'm tempted to fall too fast, trust too easily, hope too hard. She took my money. She took 2 years of my life. But she didn't take everything. I'm still me. Damaged, sure. Wiser, definitely. But still me. Still Rodney. Still here. Still breathing. Still learning what it means to love myself enough to never let anyone destroy me like that again. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's the real happy ending. Not the one I wanted. Not the one I sold my house for. But the one I needed to become the man I'm supposed to be. A man who knows his worth. Who won't compromise his dignity for companionship. Who can be alone without being lonely. Who can see manipulation for what it is and walk away. Who can build a meaningful life from nothing because he's already lost everything once and survived. Some mornings I walk to the viewpoint outside Chiang Rai. There's a temple up there with a giant Buddha statue looking out over the valley. I sit on the steps and watch the sun come up. Watch the monks doing their morning chants. Watch the city wake up below. And I think about that man who got off the plane in Phuket 2 years ago. So hopeful, so naive. So sure he'd found the answer to his loneliness. I feel sorry for him, want to warn him. But I also understand him. He was just trying to find happiness after years of pain. He made terrible choices, but they came from an honest place. from a genuine desire to love and be loved. That's not something to be ashamed of. Sometimes tourists come up to the viewpoint. Young couples holding hands, families taking photos, old couples who've been together for decades. I watch them and I don't feel jealous anymore. Just curious. How did they find each other? How did they know it was real? How did they build something that lasted? Maybe they got lucky. Maybe they were smarter than me. Maybe they just had better instincts. Or maybe they went through their own versions of what I went through and came out stronger. I'll never know. But watching them gives me something I didn't have before. Hope. Not for romance necessarily, just for life. For the possibility that good things can happen even after terrible things. That happiness exists even if I haven't found it yet. The students at my school threw me a birthday party last year, 65. I hadn't told anyone it was my birthday, but somehow they found out. They brought cake and sang to me in broken English. Happy birthday to you, Teacher Rodney. We love you. The little ones made cards with drawings, me standing in front of a blackboard, me with a giant smile, me surrounded by hearts. I kept those cards in a folder. Look at them sometimes when I'm feeling down. Evidence that I matter to someone. That my life has meaning even without romantic love. I'm also someone's favorite teacher. Someone's friend. Someone who shows up and tries and cares. That's worth something. Gordon told me last month that he saw a woman who might have been Luxami in Chiang Mai at the night market. Different hair, shorter, but the same face. She was with an older white man. French or German maybe. Holding his hand. Laughing at something he said. Gordon asked if I wanted him to find out more. To confirm it was her. I thought about it. That old urge came back. To confront her. To ask her why. To make her see what she did to me. But I said no. What would be the point? She wouldn't care. Wouldn't apologize. Wouldn't suddenly develop a conscience. And seeing her would just open wounds I've spent 2 years trying to heal. So I let it go. Let her be someone else's problem. Someone else's lesson. I hope that man figures it out faster than I did. I hope he protects himself. But if he doesn't, he'll survive. We all do. Somehow. I've started thinking about going back to England. Not permanently. Just to visit. See my brother. See the house I sold. See if any of it feels like home anymore. I've been saving for a plane ticket. Should have enough by next year. I'm nervous about it. Ashamed, if I'm honest. Everyone will know I failed. That I lost everything. That I was a fool. But maybe that's okay. Maybe admitting I was wrong is part of moving forward. Maybe facing the people who warned me and saying you were right, I should have listened, is something I need to do. Not for them. For me. To prove I can own my mistakes without letting them define me. The thing is, I'm not the same person who left England. That man was running, desperate, willing to believe anything that promised an end to his loneliness. This man, the one I am now, is different, scarred, cautious, but also stronger, more resilient. I've built a life from nothing. Made friends in a country where I don't speak the language fluently. Found purpose in teaching kids who'll probably never leave their village. Learned to be okay with myself even when I'm alone. That man who left England couldn't do any of those things. He was too broken, too needy, too afraid of his own company. So maybe the trip to Thailand wasn't a mistake. Maybe it was necessary. Maybe I had to lose everything to find out who I really am. Maybe Luxami wasn't the villain in my story. Maybe she was just the catalyst. The thing that forced me to confront myself. To grow up. To stop looking for someone else to save me and learn to save myself. I don't know if I believe that. Some days I do. Some days I think everything happens for a reason and this was my journey and I'm better for it. Other days I think that's bullshit. That I was scammed and destroyed and had to rebuild because I had no other choice. That there's no deeper meaning. No silver lining. Just pain and survival and the slow climb back to something resembling normal. Both things are probably true. Life is messy like that. There's rarely one simple explanation for why things happen. Sometimes we're victims. Sometimes we're architects of our own destruction. Usually we're both. What I do know is this. I'm here, 2 years after the worst moment of my life, and I'm okay. Not great. Not happy in the way I thought I'd be happy. But okay. I get up every morning. I teach my classes. I paint bad watercolors of mountains. I have coffee with Sarah and help on her farm. I volunteer with kids who think I'm a hero just for showing up. I watch sunrises from temple steps. I eat pad thai from street stalls. I live simply, cheaply, quietly, and that's enough. It has to be, because it's all I have. And I've learned that all you have is always enough if you stop measuring it against what you've lost. If Luke Sami is reading this somehow, I want her to know something. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, not because what you did was okay, but because carrying anger for you is like drinking poison and expecting you to die. I'm done with that. You don't get any more of my energy, any more of my thoughts, any more of my life. You took enough. The rest is mine. I'm taking it back. Every day, every choice, every moment of peace I find. That's mine. And you can't touch it. You're just a story now. A chapter in my life that's finished. And I'm writing new chapters. Better ones. Honest ones. Ones where I'm not the fool. Not the victim. Just a man who survived. Who learned. Who became stronger in the broken places. That's the ending you don't get to have. My survival. My growth. My future. Those belong to me. And I'm going to live them fully, completely, without you casting a shadow over any of it. That's my revenge. Not hurting you, but healing myself. Building a life you can't touch, can't ruin, can't even reach. And I'm almost there. Almost free. Almost whole. And when I finally am, you'll be nothing. Not even a memory. Just a name I used to know. And that will be the sweetest victory of all.